Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or The Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a breakdown of every single game from XFL week number 5. I go through every game from Saturday all the way to Sunday and talk about what I thought about each and every single game. So without any fluff, let's get right into the video. Week number 5 XFL games. Now, the first game was between the Seattle Dragons and the Houston Roughnecks. The Seattle Dragons ended up falling 23-32 here. The Roughnecks coming out with the W. But this game is without controversy. It had a controversy. XFL statement regarding the Houston game. Saturday's Seattle Dragons Houston Roughnecks game should not have ended as it did. Replay showed clearly that the knee of Houston quarterback PJ Walker touched the field, rendering him down, and the fourth down play officially completed with approximately 2 seconds remaining on the clock, effectively turning the ball over to Seattle on downs with a 9-point differential in store. Seattle was denied the opportunity to score. The XFL sincerely regrets this error. In addition, Wes Booker, who was officiating the game for Saturday's game, has been reassigned. So pretty much what that means is that the XFL, when they fuck up, is going to tell you that they fucked up. They asserted that they messed up and that the Dragons got a bit screwed over here. So we're going to break down the game, and then we're going to talk a little bit about that more at the end of the game. The Houston Roughnecks finish this game and lead the XFL as the number 1 team in the XFL, finishing as 5-0. The Seattle Dragons fall to 1-4. Now, Walker, obviously, every single game, this man is a certified beast. 27 completions on 38 attempts, 71% completion ratio, 351 yards for 3 touchdowns and 2 INTs for a 104 quarterback ranking. Yet another amazing game out of PJ Walker. And Cam Phillips, yet again, an amazing game as well. The wide receiver of the Houston Roughnecks, 13 targets, 10 receptions, 122 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This man is a walking touchdown machine for the XFL. There is 100% a reason why Walker is being looked at by NFL scouts, and Phillips should be as well. Mobley, 9 for 6 for 95 total yards, 5 of 4 for Holly, 72 yards, and 1 total touchdown. The rushing game for the Houston Roughnecks was pretty good as well. Butler rushed the ball 12 times for 52 yards and 2 total touchdowns. Williams 10 for 54 and no touchdowns. Now, the Seattle Dragons went into this game thinking, let me run the goddamn rock. Maybe they're thinking the Roughnecks can't stop that run game, and that was kind of true when it came close to the end zone. Kenneth Farrell, 10 for 30, 0 touchdowns. Daniels, the quarterback of the Seattle Dragons, went 10 for 30 and 2 touchdowns in the rushing game. Williams, 7 for 28 and 1 total touchdown. So all of their touchdowns were scored on the running game. Their quarterback, Daniels, 14 completions on 22 attempts for 64% completion ratio, 114 total yards, and 0 touchdowns, 0 INTs. So like I said, they were just running the ball, but it was not enough to defeat the Houston Roughnecks. Profel came in okay in this game, 5 for 3 for 56 for the Seattle Dragons, and no one else of name really notable here in this game. Now, the XFL explained that they fucked up here. They reassigned the ref, which is good. They're making moves. This is something the NFL would not be caught dead doing. Now, I'm a fan of the NFL. I'm a fan of the XFL, but I love how open the XFL is with telling you when these guys fucked up. They'll show you, hey, this was wrong. We're going to change this. We're going to move this guy. We're going to try to make it fair. And apologizing for things like that goes a whole long way. You know what the Rams and the Saints referees said after the game? They said nothing after they screwed the Saints out of a Super Bowl. They could have won the Super Bowl against the Patriots. That's all I'm saying. The XFL is not going to be like that. They're going to be able to tell you when bad stuff happens. That's why when they're reviewing stuff, you can hear exactly what they're saying because they want it to be very open to the public. I believe this was the right answer. I think the Roughnecks would have ended up winning the game regardless of that 2 seconds, but who knows? Anything can happen in the game of football. The second game here on the Saturday slate was the New York Football Guardians, my team, versus the Dallas Renegades. The Renegades fall 30-12, advancing the New York Guardians to 3-2 and second best in the XFL East, and the Dallas Renegades fall to 2-3. Not too hot for the Renegades, 30-12. Now, the Guardians yet again letting Matt McGloin ride the pine, and we win yet again on a 2-win streak, I believe, for the Guardians. Yes, that is true. They have won 2 games in a row. Perez, 16 of 30 for 229 passing yards, 1 touchdown and 1 INT. A solid game out of him. And for the Renegades quarterback, Nelson, 28 of 49 for 210 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 INTs. So not the greatest game out of him. Obviously, Landry Jones did end up getting hurt last week. We hope he can eventually make it back before the end of the season. Who knows if that'll happen, if the Renegades will even need him to come back, because they are an embarrassment of a team without him. Cameron Artis-Payne rushing 6 for 25. Nothing really to talk about there. The passing game, Nagel 9 for 7 and 46. Nothing much to talk about there either in the passing game of the Dallas Renegades. Now, for the receiving game of the New York Football Guardians, Pearson 6 for 5 for 95 yards and 1 total touchdown. McKay 7 of 3 for 67 yards, and Mr. Redding 5 of 3 for 46 total yards. Now, I know you saw that there was only 2 touchdowns scored by the offense. So how did they end up scoring all of these points for the Guardians? It's simple. It was a defensive attack by the New York Football Guardians. Now, I'm dumb and I do not know how to see the points that they scored, but it was unreal. Their team was balling out of control. That defense was balling. They got 1 pick. They were scoring touchdowns out of nowhere. It was amazing. This was one of the greatest games of the New York Football Guardians franchise. I mean, they've only played 5 games, so that's not much of a surprise, but the Guardians went out there and asserted dominance. Thank God they got rid of Matt McGloin. Well, he's probably still on the team, but they say, get the fuck out of here. And the Guardians are on fire. My Guardians are doing good. The Renegades are going to be not too hot without Landry Jones, though. Obviously, that is a huge worry for them. But overall, a solid game on Saturday. And now we're going to move on to Sunday's game. So if you guys have enjoyed the video thus far, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. So the next game we hop into here is the Sunday starting game at 3 o'clock p.m. ET. We got the St. Louis Battlehawks versus the DC Defenders, and boy, have the DC Defenders fallen. Before this game, 2-2 for the DC Defenders, and the Battlehawks were at, the Battlehawks were 3-1, so the Defenders ended up winning this game, but I'm going to be honest with you, a fall for the DC Defenders. Not the whole team, I guess, because they won the game, but a fall for core Daryl Jones. What the fuck happened to that man? 0 for 2 in this game and 1 INT, and his ass got benched in this win. He did not look the same from the first 2 games. This guy is a fucking bum out there on the field. Tyree Jackson in relief, 9 of 14 for 39 passing yards and 1 touchdown. Jackson can run the rock, though, just like another man named Jackson in the NFL, Lamar. 7 for 32 in the rushing game. Presley, 15 for 107. 15 for 37 for Pumphrey. And the receiver that ended up scoring the touchdown for the DC Defenders was Lee, 3 for 3 for 14 and 1 total touchdown. So this was a kind of a doozy of a game. I would say this was by far the worst game of the week by like a mile. All the other games were much more entertaining than this one. Tamu, one of the best quarterbacks in the XFL, had a bit of a trouble up against this DC Defenders defense. 15 from 25 for a 60 completion ratio, 174 yards, and 0 total touchdowns. They didn't score a single tutty in this game. Now, what I got from this was both these teams have a pretty good defense. Both these teams have good quarterbacks, but Jones is now gone. I think Ty Jackson might start next week, I would assume. It's looking like shit for the Defenders. I know they ended up winning this game. They beat the 3-1 Battlehawks, making them go 3-2. And now the Defenders are also 3-2. But I am worried about this Defenders team. I like to see how the Battlehawks bounce back next week. This game, there's not too much to talk about here. This was kind of a doozy, like I said. So the fourth and final game on Sunday was between the XFL Vipers and the Los Angeles Wildcats. The Wildcats ended up winning the game 41-34, but this game was quite the barn burner. This was one of the best games of the week, probably the best game of the week. It was absolutely electric for your eyeballs. The Tampa Bay Vipers fall to 1-4, and the Wildcats emerge up to 2-3. Now, Josh Johnson is playing out of his mind in this game. Johnson 20 of 36 for 288 total yards, 4 touchdowns and 1 INT, 107.2 quarterback ranking. Cornelius made some costly mistakes, 22 of 34 for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns and 2 INTs. Neither of these teams, to me, seem to be very run-heavy teams. Sure, they did score rushing touchdowns, but they love to pass the rock, over 34 passes for each offense. Dennis Smith of the Seattle Dragons ended up running the ball. Not the Seattle Dragons, I should say. The Tampa Bay Vipers, my bad. 24 for 69 yards. Nice. Cornelius, the quarterback, 7 for 45 and 1 total touchdown. Patrick, 7 for 23 and 1 total touchdown. For the Wildcats, no one ended up scoring except for Harris, 9 for 7 and 1 total touchdown. And the quarterback, Johnson, ran the ball 7 for 19 and 0 total touchdowns. In the passing game, there was a lot of guys scoring touchdowns on the Wildcats. Mr. Black Null ended up finding the end zone, 7 of 3 for 78 and 1 touchdown. McBride, 6 for 3, 35 yards and 1 total touchdown. Barnes, 4 for 3 and 1 total touchdown. And then Hampton, 2 for 2 for 14 yards and 1 total touchdown. For the Vipers passing game, Tolliver yet again ended up playing very good, 7 of 4 for 95 yards and 1 total touchdown. Horn, 11 targets, 9 receptions for 90 yards and 1 total touchdown. So this was a very interesting game. The Wildcats defense proved to prevail late in the game. Both of these defenses did look stout in this game, but overall the Wildcats look like a very good team. Even at 2-3, they look like they're going to pass the Renegades easily since the Renegades quarterback is hurt. So I really like the Wildcats going forward. I think this was a great game for both teams, a very enjoyable game to watch. I thought it was funny that the ESPN reporter, after the guy picked up a fumble for the Wildcats, he was like, "Hey, can you just make sure you don't curse?" And the guy's like, "Motherfuck this, fuck that," and they just bleep it out. It's so funny. The XFL should be played on whatever channel they allow you to curse on. I'm not sure if that's like pay-per-view or some shit. I'm not paying for the XFL, but with that said, it would be so funny because of how much they curse. It's literally so fucking funny. I don't know why. It just makes me laugh so hard. So an overall great week in the XFL. Now I'm going to pull over the standings here for this after week 5. So week 5 standings, the DC Defenders are still number 1 in the XFL East, 3 wins and 2 losses. The Battlehawks 3-2, the Guardians 3-2, and the Vipers 1-4. A very open division, if I'm being honest with you. The Defenders seem like they are on the downward spiral, though, so that does kind of worry me. If you're a Defenders fan, you might want to be a bit worried with Cordero Jones not being too hot anymore. But the Battlehawks 3-2, the Guardians 3-2, and the Vipers are 1-4, but they look so much better than they looked at the beginning of the season. But even with that said, 1-4, not too hot. Likely need a huge turnaround. Probably going to need to win all 5 games to even have a shot at the playoffs, which I don't think they will even be anywhere near. The Guardians, Battlehawks, or Defenders could easily be making the playoffs. 2 teams from each division make the playoffs. So gotta hope, as a Guardians fan, that we can finish strong. Now to break down the XFL West, the Houston Roughnecks 5-0, 21 touchdowns for, absolutely dominant, the most touchdowns for in the XFL. The Renegades 2-3, looking on the downward spiral. The LA Wildcats 2-3, looking on the up and up, and the Seattle Dragons 1-4, likely also fucked just like the Vipers. And now we're gonna go to the schedule for next week real quick before I go ahead and end the video. So week 6, we got the Houston Roughnecks at the New York Football Guardians. In that game, I honestly think that the Roughnecks are going to complete their just win again, 6-0, but I want the Guardians to win. I'm a Guardians fan. I'm going to predict that the Roughnecks do end up winning this game, though. I actually do want to talk about something also. Why the fuck was the Vipers and the Wildcat game on at 9 p.m. EST? Even the NFL doesn't play that late. That was kind of dumb. I had to wait all night to record this video. It's 12:41 right now, just to get it out for you guys, because I love you guys. So make sure to click that subscribe button down below. But the Roughnecks end up defeating the New York Guardians in my projections. The Battlehawks versus the Vipers. I think this is a close game, but the Battlehawks end up winning for the final game on Saturday. To kick off on Sunday on FS1 at 4 o'clock, the Dallas Renegades versus the DC Defenders. I think the Defenders win easily because the Renegades are not going to do anything without Landry Jones. And then the Wildcats versus the Seattle Dragons. I think this is a molly-whopping the Wildcats smack up the Seattle Dragons at 7 o'clock, which is much better than 9 o'clock on ESPN2. So thank you guys all for watching this video. If at any point you ended up enjoying, I've said it multiple times, please click that subscribe button down below. I love each and every single one of you guys. Click on one of the videos on your screen. I love you all. Make sure to tell your family you love them. Make sure to tell your loved ones you love them. Make sure to tell anyone in your life that you love them, because any day could be your last or their last. I love you all. Goodbye.